I appreciate you. I've been seeing on LinkedIn you got a lot going on, friend. You're
You know,
accomplishing lots of things and doing well. I see. Congratulations on all of the above.
thank you so much. Super excited. Lots of fun things happening to end out the year. I'm just like blessed. What can I say?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you blessed me with your week 43 of the weekly home check maintenance list. You were looking at windows, and we have recently come to realize that as much as we love our house, that these windows, it's going to be about time for them to get replaced. But we got some other things that we're focusing on first. We got to upgrade some appliances because it's a lot going on. And these appliances were here in the house when we brought it. And so we're like, okay, it is time to now replace them. So we've decided we're going to wait on replacing our windows until the spring, right? But
Okay.
in the meantime, we just took the air conditioners out because, I've got this whole perimenopausal thing happening. So I'm like, the house can never be too cool. But apparently nobody else in the house believes that. So we took the air conditioners out the window, but they're still very, very drafty. And
Yes.
I don't know like what's happening with the weather, but I felt like a couple of days ago we were firmly in winter as opposed to being in fall. And that wind was winding. Okay.
It's
The wind has been blowing. And you were walking us through how we can, if you have not yet replaced your windows, or if your windows are very, very drafty, that there are ways that we can keep the heat inside and keep the cold outside, which was important to me because now that we have our solar panels, our electric bill is like less than $10 a month. Like we pay
love
like I
that.
think it's amazing. It's been wonderful. We pay like $80 for the rent for the solar panel infrastructure itself, but like the electric bill itself went to $10. And it used to be like closer to $400 a month. So these solar panels are saving us a lot in electricity. But I'm like, but my gas bill and my heating bill is still
Yes.
very, very high. Talk to us about how we can maintain our windows if we're not trying to do a whole window replacement, but we still don't want to have our heat and our utility costs going out the door, literally pun intended. It was unintended, but now I intend it. What is the best way? What is the best way for us to do that?
Absolutely. Well, you know that replacing windows can be costly, and this is a cost-effective option to just get a window installation kit. It's about $10, $15 max at maybe your Lowe's or your local hardware store. And what it's going to do is it's just a plastic sheet, and all you need to install it is a pair of scissors and a blow dryer. You place this around the window frame, not inside the window frame. That's very important.
Mm,
Place it around the
mm-hmm.
window frame, and it's going to trap all that air that's trying to get in. Truth of the matter is 30% of our home's heat is escaping through either cracks or gaps.
What?
Yes. And if you think
Oh,
about all
wow.
that in money, if you're putting on the heat and like you said, that gas bill and you're just watching your money just go out the door because you're not staying warm, right? Because the
Right,
heat escaping. Um,
right.
Trap that heat inside, save money, and get yourself one of these window insulation kits. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to apply. You can do it by yourself, even better if you have help. And a lot of questions when I did post that video, they were concerned about their paint. If
Right.
if will it chip or peel back my paint once I go to take it off. And my solution to that is put painter's tape down first to protect your paint,
Oh.
and then apply this adhesive from the window insulation kit on the outside of the frame. That's going to protect
Right.
your paint, and it will also still create that seal that's needed to, again, trap the heat inside or keep the heat inside.
Okay, and we actually have plenty of painter's tape because we just finished a paint job not too long ago, and that's the blue tape, right?
It
The
is the
one
blue
that
tape.
is okay. So it's specifically designed to go on your walls without causing any damage to the paint. That's why they call it painter's tape, I think. So that
Absolutely.
okay, that is super helpful. And then you went around it with the blow dryer so that
Yeah.
the plastic. Now I just thought you could just pull the plastic kind of tight and that would be fine. I've seen this before, but had not seen anything with the blow dryer before. Can you explain the science behind that and how that was working?
Yeah, sure thing. So when you use the dryer, the plastic, it will shrink the plastic and create a tight seal. It'll also get rid of any wrinkles in the plastic, making it just as making it tight, right? And a lot of
Mm,
concerns are, in the emergency, am I able to get out? Because you cannot access the window once you put up the
Right.
seal. However, it is easy to just snatch down in the event you need to either get out fast for an emergency or have access to open and close the window. When you are applying this insulation kit, do make sure the window is fully closed. Uh,
Mm,
before applying it. But using the dryer, I always say you definitely want to move the dryer around because you don't want to burn the plastic.
right.
You just want to heat it up so that it creates a tight seal and it shrinks the plastic, making it almost like an invisible film almost. I have it on
Mm,
majority of my windows here, especially ones that I feel a draft. To check for a draft is super easy. You can use your hand, wet your hand. You can use a candle or a match if
right.
you that flicker then you have a draft. But
Right.
don't stop at your windows, right? There's also our doors. If you are seeing light, if you're seeing sunlight or any kind of light really through your front doors, through the bottom of the doors, through the side of the doors, you have a draft. There are
Mm.
mm, there are kits that you can get to stop those drafts.
Yeah, because and if you if you light a candle and you see it flick, or if put somebody who's sensitive to cold by the window, they'll tell you very quickly, no, it's a draft because I'm
There's a
feeling it.
draft. There's a
I can
draft.
feel the draft. It is
And
cold.
where there's a
It is
draft, you're
cold.
wasting money. So
Right.
keep the money in your pocket and definitely invest in one of the kits if you don't have the means at the moment to, fully replace a window, which I realize can be costly.
Man, and how costly. And I think I've shared with you before in our Brooklyn spot, I guess a brownstone. So you got three windows per floor, right? 3, 6, 9. That's it. This Jersey situation, it's entire rooms of just windows. Like I don't understand the Jersey sunroom situation. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
love
We
the
love
sunroom.
sunlight.
I love the sunroom. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Papa, it's a lot of damn windows to be
Yeah.
replacing. Well, and I first realized this was going to be a thing when we first got this house, and we had to get window treatments. And I was like, yo, it's a lot of freaking windows, and this stuff
Yes.
is mad expensive. So yeah, that and now that I'm looking at it in terms of how much heat is escaping, 30%, like our heating bill is high. Like, and I feel like it. I mean, it's not the newest of homes. I think this was like a early 1920s build. So it's an older house. Our house in Brooklyn is an 1888 build. So
Uh,
like we're talking old buildings here. So the ability for creaking and drafts and all of that is pretty significant. So we're gonna
100%.
try
And
that.
these are not meant to last a lifetime, right? They're just a
Right.
temporary seasonal fix. You are to take them down once winter is over.
Yeah, yeah. I think by the spring, I'll know what I want in terms of the window design and the type. Because there's some houses that when we were first looking, that you have the cranks that you turn and they
Oh,
sort of
yes.
open from the bottom. We
Hmm.
don't have those, but when we were renting out here for a little while, we had those, and I was like, okay, personally, I find those windows to be janky. I don't like them at all. I think they're very
Yeah.
unattractive,
Yeah.
and you'll see them a lot in the ranch style houses out in New Jersey. Shout out to y'all. Love you, Jersey. I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of those types of windows. I like the kind that just go up and go down. I don't like them
Right.
angled out, either into the property or extending outside. So I'm glad we don't have that. But I probably would not have agreed to buy the house if we'd had that because I knew I was going to want to replace it. There's
Yeah.
another thing that you covered, and actually, what I think I will do is once I put our treatments up, because I'm going to do this. Once I put them up, I'm going to look at my gas bill and compare like what it was like before we had them up and what it will be like afterwards. So I'll let y'all know how we're doing when it comes to that because I'm curious. Now it's a
Yes.
monetary investment thing. So yeah,
Absolutely. Please let
yeah,
me know. I'll celebrate with you. I'm all about a weekly home check. We're all about saving money.
I know
And let
that's
me
right.
tell you, it will go down.
I know that's right. You also had a very scary video up, and I think might have been around week 50, week 44. I can't remember which one, but you were talking about things in our households that are dirtier than public bathrooms, and
Wow.
you started out the video in a very lovely trench coat. I love the coat. It was amazing. There was a nice fit. I was like, oh, okay, I like it. I like
Okay,
it.
cool.
But like I find public restrooms to be disgusting.
Yes.
And so, like, but I mean, you got it. New York City, there aren't even a lot of public restrooms. So, usually, if I'm in a public restroom in New York City and I'm not like in a store or a restaurant, it's in like a Penn station, which
Yeah.
to
Oh,
me is like,
oh.
the most disgusting bathroom on the planet. So when you said there are things in our household that are more disgusting than a public restroom, I was sufficiently eked out. Could you please walk us through what these items are? Because these are not necessarily things that a lot of people give a lot of attention to. But
Right.
after you pointed them out, I was like, ew, how could I not have paid attention to some of these things? Break that down for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was quite an interesting video because, like, as you said, those public bathrooms can be disgusting and full of germy. If you think about I feel like everyone has a story about a nasty public bathroom we went into. But to think that there are things in our homes that can be even germier than that is on a whole nother level. And there are things. Some of them include your kitchen sponge.
Disgusting.
The dirtiest, that is absolutely the dirtiest of them all because it's damp, it carries bacteria, um, breeding grounds for mold and yeast. And when you combine, moisture with bits of food particles, that's like basically a breeding ground for bacteria. Sponges, you're only meant to use 1 to 2 weeks at a time before throwing them away.
Okay,
I,
now I did not know that. Now this, I feel like I might be having one. You know how when we have certain friends who are not from the global majority who don't use washcloths, and they're like, people use washcloths on their body. I felt like that, but black. I was like, wait, you're only supposed to use a sponge in the kitchen every 2 weeks. I might have been the only person that knew that. The reason we don't use sponges much longer than that is because my kids would be like, this is gross. And so, like, I always
yeah,
felt like it was sort of like bougie to like just be I was like, this is wasteful to the planet. But my kids were like, Mom, this is gross. So, like, we actually now we use like washcloths and microfibers and whatnot. And like, we clean them every week. But I hadn't thought about the length of time using a sponge because I'm familiar with households where you use the sponge until the sponge look like it don't
no,
need to
no,
be
no,
used
no,
anymore.
no.
Like, I mean, I've gone to people's house and I'm like, yeah, and because you agree to wash dishes for a friend if they're having dinner, and I've been to many of a household from our community where the sponge is beginning to look like it needs to be tossed out, and that's sort of like how we season our food until the ancestors say stop. I
That's
felt like I was having one of those moments when I saw your video. I was like, have I been doing this wrong? Are my
yeah.
kids right? I've been telling my kids they bougie this whole time, and they might have actually been right. Give us a sense as to what's happening with the kitchen sponges. How should we be cleaning them?
I always recommend using a silicone sponge.
Mm.
You can throw this in the dishwasher. If you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be wasteful and
Ooh.
continuously buy, a kitchen, maybe Scotch Brite sponge, invest in a silicone. It was about $5 Amazon. I also have them on my storefronts if you come on to Weekly Home Check. These you can just throw in the dishwasher weekly. Okay, and you can continue to use them. They
Nice.
do expire, but it won't be, every week, right? You can also throw a damp sponge in the microwave to
Mm.
disinfect it. That is also another way. However, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
much rather put my silicone in the dishwasher and allow it to
Right.
disinfect in that way. Um,
Right.
but if you think about all the things a sponge touches, right? You're
Yep.
cleaning your dirty counters, you're cleaning your dirty dishes, you're wiping down maybe your faucets or any spills. All of that gets soaked into the sponge, and it creates bacteria, and then it's damp
Ugh.
for periods and lengths of time, which is going to invite mold. So you definitely want to throw out those sponges every week, 2 weeks max. And if it begins to look like the way you're explaining it to look from when you've seen it, it is beyond its expiration date.
I have seen some sponges in people's houses that look like they have been through the struggle. Okay.
It's no
Like
longer cleaning. You're only
it's no
spreading
longer
germs
cleaning
at this
anything.
point.
So I'm going to actually confess to my kids that they were right, and the fact, because we've shared before how my kids are wash the dishes in the house. Like, we don't use a dishwasher. The kids, you wash the dishes, and I know you've said that we wasting money and wasting
Yeah.
water, and I hear you. But because they're the ones that wash the dishes, I've just sort of been like, all right, you don't have to use a sponge. That's why we use like the dishcloths, because I feel like you can throw them in the wash machine, you can wash them, like they're able to be cleaned easier. And I never felt comfortable throwing a sponge in the wash machine because I thought it would just get torn up in the spin cycle. But I'm seeing other people in the some people are like, yes, sponges are hella yucky. Michael says his sponge goes in the dishwasher every other day, but since my kids are the dishwasher, we just stopped using them. So, but now I can tell them that they were correct, and that
Sure.
mommy's gonna take the L on this one. So
Right.
I appreciate you, and they'll be fans of yours because you got to get me to
Love
understand
it.
this one. Yeah, there's
Spreading
that.
home maintenance. But there's more, right? There's
Right. There
more.
are other
There's more.
things.
There's a remote. If you think about how many hands touches the TV remote, what any kind of remote, the ceiling fan remote, the TV remote, remotes in
Mm,
general, how many of our hands, our dirty hands, our hands that got food and grime on them when we're watching TV and eating, the remote is one of the germiest things in our
I know.
homes. You are meant to wipe those down weekly with disinfectant wipes.
Yep.
Just the small things that go unnoticed. Another thing is door handles and light switches, right?
Mm,
If you think about coming in, when you're first coming into a home, the first thing you are touching is maybe your door handle or your light switch, and with, outside hands, is like my mom likes to call
right.
it.
Right.
Um, outside hands. Lots of contamination there with just bacteria and many different people that are touching the light switches in these high touch areas should also be wiped down again with disinfectant wipes weekly. And
Mm,
our phones, right?
yeah.
We take our phones everywhere. We take our phones are outside with us. Our phones are in the bathrooms with
Yep.
us.
Some of
You
y'all
know,
are looking at your phones in between wipes. You know
right,
who you are. Like,
right,
that's gross. Don't do
right.
that. Your fingers are dirty and germy. But
Jeremy,
yeah, we need to be wiping these phones down for
we
real, for
set
real.
our
That one,
phones
I
on
was like, oh, absolutely.
we sit our phones on surfaces outside. They drop, they rest on counters, they rest on sinks. But to be honest, a kitchen sponge is more germier than our phones.
Oh my God. We'll,
So
we may never
definitely,
have sponges
definitely
again.
take care of those sponges. And I'll get you a silicone sponge or upkeep with the sponge and replace weekly.
Yeah, somebody said growing up that sponge it got beat down. But as you know better, you do better, and we are all in agreement on this needing to be a new day in the
A new
morning.
day, a new dawn.
Yeah, but the door handles, because you're right. And then when I go to a hotel, I do all
Wow.
of that. I wipe down the door handles, I wipe down the switches, the light switches, the remote control. Everything gets wiped down when I go to a hotel because that's literally other people's germs. And I've been reading a lot and just been in conversation with folks. For some reason, this is a topic of conversation in one of my group chats. Like, when you see how much pressure is on people who are, for example, a part of the cleaning staff of a hotel, they have to
Yes.
get those rooms in and out. They don't have time. It is a quick thing, and so it's literally your germs being added to everybody else's germs
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
hotel, and it's so doing that at the hotel to me makes perfect sense. But when you think about it, you're right. You're coming in from outside. You've got your outside hands. Shout out to your mama, and you're touching all the things and with those dirty outside hands. So I have not been using as much cleaning wipes. I used to use a lot of like the disposable cleaning wipes, but because, and y'all know this, I've been using the Harris 30% vinegar. Child, I done made so many vinegar cleaning batches. I'm still on the first gallon of Harris 30% vinegar because it is literally like you 60, it's 1 part water. No, I'm sorry, 1 part vinegar, 60 parts water. So like we got spray bottles everywhere that's got it in it. So I have been using our microfiber cloths, and I'll spray that down with the vinegar solution, and then wipe down these some like the door handles and the light switches and whatnot. So that is something that people should think about. And I'm saying that because if you have the ability to not pollute the earth with additional, one use wipes, then that's something we should consider as well, because we
Mhm.
don't want to worry about cleaning our houses if we're dirtying the planet. So
I will say, I swear by vinegar. Vinegar is one of the cleaning
mm,
properties of vinegar is I will always preach by. I use vinegar tons in the house to
yeah.
disinfect and clean. But when you're using your phone or when you're disinfecting your phone, you want to shy away from vinegar because it can, specifically a smartphone, I should say,
Oh.
because it can damage the fingerprint resistant layer. So yes, be sure to think twice before using like bleach on your smartphones, or glass cleaner is another one that can damage this layer.
What?
Yes, or
Dang it.
vinegar. Yes.
See, That's why
Yes.
we have you on, Keyshawn, because you make sure. Here I am thinking, let me just break my little
Yeah,
microfiber, just
yeah,
wipe it down. Okay, nope. Good to know.
yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. And y'all, don't be taking the phone in the bathroom with you. You can be present with your poo. Like, just be in the
Become
bathroom.
one.
Like, be one with your body, like in your elimination process. Like, you do not need to
Take
be
that
screaming.
moment for yourself.
Yes, please, and and
Take
clean properly.
that moment for
Keisha, where can people find you? I am a super fan of the weekly home check because you make it so easy, and it's 1 week. Everything you get, one item a week. Where's the best place for people to find you, connect with you, and support your work?
Absolutely. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube under Weekly Home Check. We're doing, like you said, we're doing one task a week, spreading the importance of home maintenance, saving money, saving time, and making things last as long as they should.
I know that's right. And we're going to stretch these windows out to the spring, y'all. I'm going to let y'all know what happens with my gas bill
All
once
right.
we get these treatments out. Keyshawn, I
Absolutely.
appreciate you as always, Fred. Thank you so much for giving us some time and your expertise this morning. We
Of
appreciate
course.
you.